Hi everyone, welcome to MindBlend. The world throws a lot at us. Tragedy, betrayal, disappointment, suffering. These are the unavoidable perils of being. But how do we respond to these inevitable challenges? How do we keep from being crushed under the weight of existence? The answer, my friends, lies in cultivating emotional resilience. In this video, we will explore 10 habits practiced by the most resilient among us. These habits, if cultivated diligently, can transform you from a victim of circumstance into a master of your fate. If you find this message valuable, consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. It helps us out a lot. You might scoff at maintaining a positive outlook. It might seem like a naive platitude, but resist that cynicism. The world looks different to a pessimist than to an optimist. A pessimist sees insurmountable obstacles. An optimist sees opportunities and learning experiences. This perspective impacts one's ability to cope with adversity. Cultivating a positive outlook doesn't deny suffering, it makes you indomitable. Confront harsh realities with your head held high. Find meaning even in chaos. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One succumbs to despair. The other sees it as an opportunity for growth. Who is more likely to overcome the obstacle? The answer is clear. If you were training for a marathon, would you neglect to fuel your body with nutritious food? Would you deprive yourself of sleep, pushing your limits to exhaustion? Of course not. To perform at your best, you need to treat your body with care and respect. The same applies to your emotional well-being. You can't be emotionally resilient if you neglect your own needs. Self-care is essential, not selfish. It's the foundation of resilience. Self-care looks different for everyone. It involves listening to your body and mind. Set aside time for joy and rejuvenation, whether that's reading, music, nature, or a bath. Set boundaries with energy-draining people. Engage in activities that nourish your soul. Investing in your well-being boosts your resilience. The need to be liked, to be accepted, to please others, these are primal human desires, and for good reason. Throughout our evolutionary history, social connection has been essential for survival. But in the modern world, our innate desire for connection can sometimes lead us astray. We can find ourselves saying yes to requests we should decline, tolerating behaviors we find unacceptable, and compromising our own needs in order to appease others. And while this may seem virtuous on the surface, the truth is that a lack of boundaries is a recipe for resentment, burnout, and emotional exhaustion. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish or unkind. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and emotional resources are finite. And it's about making conscious choices about how you expend those precious resources. It's about saying no to the things that drain you, so that you can say yes to the things that nourish you. Think of your life as a garden. You wouldn't let just anyone trample all over your flowers, would you? No, you would build a fence to protect your precious blooms. Setting boundaries is like building a fence around your heart and your mind. We are social creatures hardwired for connection. Our ancestors living in tribes on the African savanna knew this instinctively. They understood that their survival depended on their ability to cooperate and support one another. And while the modern world may seem a far cry from the savanna, the fundamental truth remains: we are not meant to go through life alone. Building a supportive network of friends, family, or colleagues is not a luxury, it's a necessity. These are the people who will celebrate your victories with you, offer a shoulder to cry on when you stumble, and provide a much-needed dose of perspective when life throws you a curveball. They are your cheer squad, your sounding board, your safe harbor in the storm. Now, building a supportive network takes effort. It requires you to be vulnerable, to open yourself up to the possibility of rejection. But the rewards are well worth the risk. We live in a world of constant stimulation. Our phones buzz with notifications, our inboxes overflow with emails, and our minds race from one thought to the next. It's no wonder then that so many of us feel overwhelmed, anxious, and disconnected from ourselves and the present moment. But there is a way to find peace amidst the chaos: mindfulness. Mindfulness in its essence is about paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about observing your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without getting carried away by them. It's about cultivating a sense of awareness and acceptance of whatever arises in your experience. Now, mindfulness is not about emptying your mind or achieving some kind of blissful state of non-thinking. It's about learning to relate to your thoughts and feelings in a different way, with curiosity, kindness, and compassion. Change is a fundamental law of the universe. Just as the seasons change, so too do the circumstances of our lives. And while we often celebrate positive changes, new relationships, career advancements, personal triumphs, we tend to resist change when it comes in the form of loss, disappointment, or upheaval. But the truth is, resistance to change is futile. It's like trying to hold back the tide, an exercise in frustration and exhaustion. Accepting change, on the other hand, is not about passively resigning yourself to whatever life throws your way. It's about recognizing that change is inevitable and choosing to embrace it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. It's about letting go of the need to control every aspect of your life and trusting that even in the midst of uncertainty, there is an underlying order and intelligence at work. Think of a tree in a storm. A rigid tree clinging desperately to its leaves is more likely to snap under the pressure, but a flexible tree bending with the wind is more likely to weather the storm. In the vast ocean of existence, it's easy to feel lost, adrift without direction. We can find ourselves buffeted about by the winds and waves of circumstance, unsure of where we're headed or how we're going to get there. This is where goal setting comes in. Goals act as our compass, providing us with a sense of direction and purpose. They give us something to strive for, something to work towards, something to pull us forward even when the currents of life threaten to drag us down. Now, setting goals is not about creating a rigid roadmap for your life. It's about identifying what truly matters to you and taking intentional steps towards creating the life you envision. Your goals might be grand and ambitious, or they might be small and attainable. The important thing is that they are meaningful to you and that they align with your values. Think of setting goals like charting a course on a map. You identify your destination, you plot your route, and you set sail. We are embodied beings. Our minds and bodies are not separate entities, they are inextricably intertwined. What we do to our bodies, we do to our minds, and vice versa. And just as physical exercise strengthens our muscles and bones, it also strengthens our minds, making us more resilient in the face of stress, adversity, and the inevitable challenges of life. Now, when I talk about physical activity, I'm not necessarily talking about running marathons or spending hours at the gym, although those are certainly worthwhile endeavors. I'm talking about finding ways to move your body that you genuinely enjoy, whether that's going for walks in nature, dancing in your living room, or taking up a sport you loved as a child. The key is to find something that gets you moving, something that elevates your heart rate, something that makes you feel alive in your body. Because when you move your body, you quite literally change your brain. In our fast-paced, always-on culture, sleep is often seen as a luxury, something to be sacrificed in the pursuit of productivity, entertainment, or social connection. But the truth is, sleep is not a luxury. It's a biological necessity, just like eating, drinking, and breathing. And just as neglecting any of those other essential needs would have dire consequences for our physical health, so too does chronic sleep deprivation wreak havoc on our mental and emotional well-being. When we sleep, our bodies and minds are able to repair and rejuvenate themselves. It's during sleep that our brains consolidate memories, process emotions, and clear out toxins that accumulate throughout the day. When we consistently shortchange ourselves on sleep, we're essentially running our systems on fumes. And over time, this can lead to a whole host of problems, including increased stress, anxiety, irritability, difficulty concentrating, impaired decision-making, and a weakened immune system. Making adequate sleep a non-negotiable part of your routine is one of the most important things you can do for your mental and emotional health. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to get caught up in the external world, our jobs, our relationships, our to-do lists, and lose sight of what's going on inside ourselves. We can go days, weeks, even months without taking the time to truly check in with ourselves. Just as a ship's captain needs to consult their compass, we need regular self-reflection to stay on course. Self-reflection is turning your attention inward and examining your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. It's about creating space for introspection and self-discovery. Think of self-reflection as mental decluttering. Declutter your mind of limiting beliefs and emotional baggage. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the power of perspective to the importance of self-care, boundaries, and supportive relationships. Remember, building emotional resilience is a journey, not a destination. It's about cultivating habits and practices that support your mental and emotional well-being, so that when the inevitable storms of life arise, you'll have the strength and the resources to weather them. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing it with your friends, and be sure to hit that like button. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching.